Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zakabane101, and I'm here to give you my first impressions of the first 2 to 3 hours of Clandestine. This is a spy game made by Logic Artists, and they were kind enough to send me a code to go check the game on out, and it's a pretty interesting concept, I gotta say. It is a 2-player co-op style game where one person plays as the spy, and they go around the mission similar to how Sam Fisher would go around a mission. However, in this case, they're not like high-tech hackers. They're more of a technician, they're called in the game. And they have an assistant, who is the co-op player, that's a professional hacker. Someone that can go into systems, look at these emails that will have valuable information on them, maybe hack into terminals and try and figure out various codes that you have to input as the spy. And through doing so, you guys work together to try and infiltrate bases and try and, extract valuable information for the CIA. Now, that all sounds great in theory, but unfortunately, from what I've played, and unfortunately, I have not played the co-op, so I cannot really speak for that, but I can give you some opinions on how that probably would go. It didn't really work for me, at least in the solo aspect of it. So the way that the solo gameplay works, as I said, you have Katia, who is the spy. She goes around and she controls very clunkily. Now, I will say, let's talk about the options real quick before I even get into how the controls work. But I will say I'm very thankful the options menu is pretty decent for the most part. You have depth of field options, SSAO, even a field of view slider for a third-person game. That's pretty impressive. I do appreciate that. And all the keys are completely rebindable. You even have access to controls with your controller and all of that too. So that's always very nice. I love when a game has plenty of options, so many people can choose from. For some reason, though, the game launched on the higher resolution. NVIDIA 970 cards are able to use higher resolutions than the standard 1080p of their monitor. That's just a special downscaling thing, but it started on that resolution, which is kind of odd, but I was able to switch it back down to 1080p. Lots of resolution options. Options menu is great. It did a good job. Audio sliders, everything there. I couldn't ask for more. Unfortunately, when it comes to actually playing the game, it's a completely different story. It's kind of like one person worked on the options menu, then someone kind of tripped and fell and made the game. Which I know that sounds horrible, but that's what it felt like when I was playing as Katia. Her animations, the way that she walks throughout the world feels very clunky. She's just kind of thumping on the ground, just kind of barely able to walk forward. She has a very difficult time actually doing so. And when she switches over to her jog, which you do by tapping shift, she barely even increases in speed. And this very light jog keeps her from being able to be stealthy, so enemies can hear her from a mile away, even when she's doing this very light jog. Then if you hold down shift, you can sprint, which is a bit faster, but she runs out of breath after about 10 or so seconds, and it can be pretty much a pain in the butt. So basically, your two forms of movement are going to be when you're crouched down and you're just sneaking around very, very slowly, or when you are standing straight up and then just kind of walking through the level, which I found actually the walking, since it's a slightly faster animation than the crouch one, to be the most optimal way to go, because enemies kind of have a difficult time spotting you anyway, and even if they're looking directly at you, you can kind of get around some sort of cover and they'll just completely ignore you. Anyway, the reason you go into stealth, of course, is if you want to take enemies out, which is what I found to be the most effective way to go through the levels as Katia. So what you would do, you would just walk up behind an enemy, left click once, there's a light tap on the left click, will knock the enemy out, or if you hold down the left mouse button, then you'll choke the enemy out, but then add a snap animation at the end, which I believe it actually takes longer to kill an enemy than it does to knock them out, which fundamentally that doesn't sound right. It should be faster to kill an enemy than it takes to knock them out, because if you ever played any of the Splinter Cell games, you would know that you just use your knife straight up, kill the enemy very quickly. That's the reason you go for a fast kill, because it's just quicker that way. You can get them out of the way very, very fast and then focus on the next target just as quickly. Whereas in this one, for some reason, they make the kill animation longer than the chokeout animation, which means that you might as well just knock them out, because from what I could tell, they don't wake back up after you knock them out, so there's really no reason to kill them. It just takes too long. There's no reason to do it. Even though the knockout animation is still fairly long, it's just faster than the kill animation. I can't really understand that too well. A few other moves you can do. You can vault over some fences. You can open doors. Some doors will be locked, and this is when Martin comes into play. So we pretty much covered everything that Katia can do. I mean, she can... I'll explain a few more things she can do. She can, like, throw pagers away from her and then have Martin switch over and have him click on the pager on his little mini-map that he has, and the pager will go off, thus distracting enemies so you can sneak on by them. Although, again, there's no reason to actually leave enemies alive. You can still get a Ghost Anonymous rating by killing everyone, as long as they don't actually notice that you're there. So it's a very odd system where, as, again, something like Splinter Cell Blacklist, you're going to run into a situation where you can choose not to kill anyone, and you'll get huge bonuses for actually just ignoring everyone. It is a huge reason and a huge incentive to not actually affect any of the players or any of the NPCs in the area in Blacklist, where in this, there is no incentive. You just might as well do it because there's no reason not to. Now, there is a score system at the end of the levels as well that I'll get into, but for now, from what I can say is Katia's gameplay, not particularly interesting. What is interesting about the game and what sets it apart from games like Splinter Cell is you get to play the role of Martin, who is a hacker. So how he works, he has his own little like game board that he kind of plays on, and he has his own little avatar that he has that can move around this very small map that can get larger depending on how big the level is. And basically he starts in a hub, and then you kind of use WSAD to kind of move around this map. Now, on this map, there are going to be various things on it. So, for example, you might run across a door, and if you use the E key on that door while you're hovering over it, you'll be able to find a code for Katia to use to be able to open the door, which is a very cool concept. So she can't actually proceed without Martin physically helping her, which is a very cool co-op aspect. Very cool and asymmetric as well. And while doing this, you have like 4 panels that you're looking at as Martin. So you have the map in the bottom right. You have the map of your little domain in the bottom left, so you can see where you're going as your little avatar. On the top right, you can actually look at surveillance cameras. If you click on surveillance camera on the world map where Katia's in, you can actually look through the lens of those cameras. And while doing so, I believe that may deactivate the cameras. Either that or you hit F on the camera and it deactivates them as well in solo play. I don't know about co-op, though, because I haven't played it. A few more things that the hacker can actually do. You can also hack into various computers and look at the emails on them, giving you some valuable information. For example, a computer might tell you where to go next, or it might give you a passcode or an IP address that you need to look for as Katia. Basically, you're kind of like the helper, like Anna Grimm's daughter, or something along those lines in the Splinter Cell series. Like, you're just you're the actual person helping out the Splinter Cell that's going through here, which is pretty much what this is. You get to play as the intel guy, the hacker that knows what he's doing and making sure that he can get you through various areas, and you're also playing as the agent, the CIA agent, and she's going around and trying to discover these things that you're pointing out on the map, and it's a really interesting idea for the co-op experience. And the most unfortunate thing of it all is the fact that no one's really playing the game. And I really cannot blame them. There is just no reason to really play it if there's no one else to play it with. And Katia's controls are so janky that it's almost just too unfun to play. All the time I spent with the game, I just felt this slow, sluggish control that just did not feel good in my hands. I was using the keyboard and mouse control, so maybe the Xbox 360 controller would have been a million times better. I can't say for sure, but it just didn't feel good. There was numerous frame drops at various points as well. The first level was fine for the most part, but the second level was pretty nasty, and also the CIA base was also pretty bad. A few other aspects of the game. After you complete a mission, you get ranked on basically what you did. You also get to say, or you get a little ranking that says that if you're a ghost or something like that. I typically got Ghost because it was very easy to do so. You just had to go around, kill everyone, and make sure they don't see you, and then you are considered a ghost, even though that's not really what a ghost is. A ghost is someone that goes through the whole area and is never seen, but is also someone that never touched a single body and was never noticed. So that's what a ghost is. If you've ever played Splinter Cell or even Metal Gear Solid and you're trying to get big boss rating, you know that getting alerts is bad, or just even getting remotely kind of spotted is generally going to be bad. Like, you don't want that to happen. And I just gotta say, if they go back to the drawing board, if they try again, if they go for Clandestine 2, I say focus on the hacking mode, because the hacking mode was really my favorite aspect of it. I really enjoyed the hacking mode. It was very simple, pretty much bare bones for the most part, but I can see it working in the co-op world, and I feel like if I had the chance to actually play with someone else, maybe my perspective would have been a bit different. So I do say, if you are planning on getting Clandestine, if you're looking for a co-op experience, this might be it. But I cannot tell you how good the servers are, and I'm pretty much going to tell you right now that you're probably never going to find a game with some random person online. I tried, it didn't work. It's very unfortunate that no one is playing this game, but again, like I said, I can't really blame them. It's just too janky. There's bugs, there's stuff that people are getting, like, people are disappearing in conversations. There's a dialogue wheel in this game. I forgot to mention that, but there's a dialogue wheel. But it's not like in the sense of Alpha Protocol or Mass Effect or whatever. It's just like an information dialogue. So it's like, do you want to know about A, B, or C, or do you want to just continue the mission? That's basically what the dialogue wheel is. There's also another aspect of the game. Depending on how well you do in missions, you'll earn points, and depending on how you play, similar to Splinter Cell, you'll get different types of gear and all that. But I guess more similar to Double Agent, because Double Agent had this feature where, you know, if you were bad, you got murderous weapons, and if you were good, you would get tranquilizers and more stealthy gear and less explosives and more flashbangs type stuff. But it's not that interesting. It's the aspect of the game is the co-op. I know I keep repeating myself, but that's what it is. It's a co-op, and I didn't find it very fun in solo play. And even in co-op play, it might just be very difficult for that Cadia player to really get into things. But if you can find someone to bear it, try it out. Let me know how it goes, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is my first impressions of Clandestine. I might go back and play some more and give you some more impressions in the future. If you guys really want me to go back into it, let me know in the comments below. And what is your favorite spy-type game? Is it Splinter Cell? Is it something else, like maybe, well, I was going to say Assassin's Creed, but then I'm just listing off all the Ubisoft games. And is Assassin's Creed really a stealth game nowadays? We don't know. At least someone can tell me in the chat. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm Ackerman101, and I'll see you all next time.